During the summers that we spent in the Dominican Republic, my little brothers and I would plop ourselves in front of our grandparents' big gray box TV after a long day of sitting in the sun, playing with the water hose, or throwing rocks at each other. See, we weren't spending our summer breaks in the part of DR that you see in the commercials and the travel brochures. We were far from beaches, resorts, and most importantly, Wi-Fi. No, we were in El Campo, where a typical day for us involved going to a neighbor's house so they can see how big we've gotten since the last time they've seen us, begging my mom for change to buy cold Pepsis at El Colmado, and going back home to watch in horror as our grandmother kills a chicken in the backyard for dinner. We visited my mom's hometown in Villa Tapia every summer growing up. During this time, Miguel, Cookie, and I didn't speak Spanish very well, and the kids in the neighborhood, who we affectionately called our cousins, didn't speak much English. However, our language barrier didn't stop us from having fun together, playing catch and hide and seek, or that one summer that Miguel brought and broke his Nintendo DS. When we finally had enough of being outside, sunburnt and riddled with mosquito bites, we returned to Mama and Papa's house to watch TV. Though we didn't get our usual Cartoon Network or Disney Channel programming at our grandparents' house, we settled for whatever the satellite signal gods would grant us, which usually was reruns dubbed in Spanish. One hot summer night, our cousins, my brothers, and I all sat quietly in my grandparents' living room in rocking chairs or pillows on the floor, watching Bob Ross. That evening, while the adults were having their after-dinner coffee on the patio, we were so quiet and so focused on the screen. All you could hear was the delicate brushstrokes, the hum of the ceiling fan, and the crickets chirping outside in the dark of the night. Back home in my apartment in the Lower East Side and in the various apartments throughout Corona, Queens, the television was the magnet that drew our busy family together. When Mommy would turn on Good Morning America, the soundtrack to our mornings, I knew in my half-slumber state that the day had started. On Saturday evenings, when millions of Americans might have been watching Saturday Night Live, we would be tuned into Sábado Gigante. Oh. For those of you who don't know, Sábado Gigante is a 3-hour live show featuring comedy skits, advice segments, music, and dance performances. Television in my family was the great unifier of cultures, generations, and languages. Together, we watched hours of reality shows that we compared our own families to, like the misbehaved children of Nanny 911 and the strict mothers of Wife Swap. One of the shows that we most bonded over, perhaps surprisingly, was Golden Girls. It was a show that I always picked to watch when it was on, and over the course of the 30-minute episodes, my brothers and my mom would listen in long enough until they eventually were seated on the couch with me, cackling over a line delivered by monotone Dorothy or sassy Sophia. I knew this show became a family favorite when I would randomly start singing, "Thank you for being a friend." And Miguel, my brother in the kitchen, would continue, "Travel down the road and back again." These shows, despite having mostly white casts and showcasing lifestyles we knew nothing about, somehow gave us, the first-generation American children and our immigrant mother, something to bond over. Together on the couch, we explained jokes that either we were too young to understand or my mom couldn't translate on her own. We resonated with dysfunctional families. Sitting on opposite ends of a cultural bridge, television was where we met in the middle. Thank you.